Good morning, everybody. This is Dana B. with Charlie M. and Kent G. from Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries. Welcome this morning to our podcast. We have our good friends on, um, Al and Rhonda Torres from Conservatives of Lake Frederick, and we're going to have some good time today. Let me start by telling you a little bit about Mountain Patriots. We are the Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries, and we're trying to get this word out to as many people as we can on what the current issues are from not only on a world view, but also on a local view. And we've been doing this now for almost the last 3 years. And we want to make sure that people understand how our government works and what some of the issues are. And some of the ministries that we work with are spiritual. We're definitely educational when we work with the children. We have civil defense. We do a preparedness ministry. We do a constitutional ministry, and we do a community ministry, and we also help with elections. So today we're going to have a little bit of fun with Al and Rhonda. And just so you know, we want to make sure that people understand the civics behind what we actually do here in the United States. We're the greatest country in the world, greatest country, one nation under God. And on June 28th, we'll be doing our eighth Wake Up Winchester Health and Freedom Conference. So you'll get the opportunity to see people like the sheriff, the county attorney, hear what they actually do, the clerk of court, the commissioner of the revenue. There's going to be all kinds of people like that. And we're going to cover education. We're going to cover the Constitution. And when you get a chance, go to wakeupwinchester.com. Check us out. Tickets are online. There's also a gun raffle, and we're going to feed you at the same time because we don't want people to come in there and be hungry. We're going to make sure that you're hungry for some great information and having a good time while we're doing this. So, without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my co-chair and my good partner, Charlie Markert, who's going to introduce our great guests and friends of ours, Rhonda and Al, this morning. Charlie, it's all yours, my friend.
Thank you, Dana. Welcome, Rhonda. Welcome, Al. We really appreciate your coming here and, well, not coming here, sort of, and doing this with us. So well, we're really pleased because the things you're doing are some of the things that we're doing, and we're looking forward to having you share with us and our audience what's happening. But before we get into the specifics of what's going on today, we'd like our viewers to know a little bit about your backgrounds beyond what we're talking about today. So what did you do before as a living, and where are you from? Whatever else about your travels or whatever, give us a little snapshot of you guys. Who'd like to start, Rhonda or Al?
I defer to my wife.
Yeah,
Good
I
man.
do that too.
Ladies first.
Smart.
Well, good morning, guys. Thanks for having us here. This
Thank
is
you,
my
Rhonda.
first interview, so I'm excited.
Here too.
My life experience, Navy brat. My dad was mostly stationed in Northern Virginia at the Pentagon. He worked, so pretty much grew up in Northern Virginia. Spent a few years in South America, Pennsylvania with my grandmother, but pretty much Northern Virginia. Went to high school in Sterling Park and moved to Winchester in Frederick County in 81 after I became a nurse. I worked at Winchester Hospital for over 30 years, mostly critical care, about 27 years of it in critical care. Still have a passion for helping people. So my passion now is reverted from healthcare to political care, trying to get people engaged.
Country care,
Yeah.
life support.
Yeah. Al and I met in 13, and I moved back to Ashburn with him after we met and got married, and went to Texas and came back
Excellent.
almost 2 years ago. May 9th will be our second year back here in Frederick County, and we're here to stay now. And we got involved in politics in Texas, started becoming, I don't I don't know how far you want me to go into to introducing myself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whatever you're comfortable doing.
Okay, got involved in politics. We met a really great girl, great lady, became great friends, and she was involved, our precinct chair. Terminology is different there than here.
Mhm.
Precinct chair there. Al, what would you say is comparable to here?
There is none right
There's
here.
nothing comparable. But anyway, she got us involved, got us involved in becoming volunteer registrars. So we did that and got involved in working the politics. Where I got extremely passionate, COVID. Probably COVID motivated a lot of people for a lot of
Yeah.
different things. But seeing really opening up my eyes, before Al, I was, I worked 12, 14 hours a day, raised family,
Hmm.
had a farm in the western and out in Hayfield, Dana. I lived out there. Didn't have really time other than voting, really, to be involved in politics. So we got passionate. Al and I spent a lot of time at the Capitol. I'll let him talk about the Convention of States, but we did a lot with that. Um, and moved back here and trying to learn Virginia politics after Texas politics. It's been an eye opener, been a learning curve. And
Probably a little different.
yeah,
Yes. So was Maryland.
yeah, we weren't we were an hour, not even an hour from parking in front of our house here in Lake Frederick when we bought it. We were swarmed by minimum of 12 neighbors coming to meet us and wanted to know us. They'd already stalked us on Facebook, knew we were conservative. So they were very, very happy. I was already saying, "Oh, you're involved in politics. You ought to work the election." So I got roped into that, which is great.
Well, you
And
care, Rhonda. That's why.
that's fair.
Yeah, right. Thank
You
you,
And,
care.
Al. What about yourself, Al?
Well, nothing too exciting here, really.
oh, come on.
I'm a native New Yorker, but family moved us back to Puerto Rico when I don't know, it was about in 1962, I guess, something like that. And once I left college, decided to join the Navy. I really wanted to go visit the country of Vietnam, but they never sent me over there. Just the tail end of it. So I'm an era veteran in the United States Navy. But after that, came back here to the States, and I applied and started my 27-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency. I'm a retired officer of the CIA. Did a lot of work with that, obviously, overseas, works in different places. And when 9/11 happened, I happened to be working the counter narcotics efforts down in Bogota in Colombia, and got on a plane as best I could to get back here, turned the boots around, and was in Afghanistan by mid 2002 in Kandahar, excuse me, on the Paki border, and that lasted for about the next 10 years on and off. I retired in '04, and soon thereafter by '06, I had my own company running up again because I had decided to retire and let the younger folks do that, and then found myself right back in Afghanistan and finally stopped that in about 2012. And later on in 16, I sold my company and moved to Texas. As Rhonda said, we just celebrated our 11th wedding anniversary here just recently. So what's in Texas? When you're a little more freer to be able to participate in the constitutional activities that we serve so long protecting for others, I got more involved in Convention of States. And Convention of States is a program is a group of patriots, if you will,
Hmm.
volunteer patriots who are using the Constitution under Article 5 to try to save our nation. And we're using that to try to enforce or put on Congress a limit on term limits, right? We want to stop that. Nobody's
Hmm.
supposed to be a forever politician.
Right.
We also want to stop the overreach of the federal government to put their jurisdiction and their stronghold on everybody back in the box where it's supposed to be. And then obviously we want to put fiscal restraints on the government itself. So that's generally what Convention of States is all about, and using Article 5, and I can talk more about that later. But that's what got me started into it. I was a district captain at first, then I became co-state director for COS in Texas. And once we left to move back here, I joined as volunteer with the national team. So I work on that, and I'm a regional captain team member here for COS in Virginia. And we're back here, not in Loudoun County.
Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I was just going to say the same thing. 9/11 woke a lot of people up. I know it woke us up, and then the last 5 years, it really woke us up. But as we all know, everything that we've gone through, it's all about the mission on what we're doing. I'm going to throw this over to Kent because I know that Kent might have a couple questions for you because both of you have had some incredible experiences military service wise. Both of you guys love this country. There's no question. And Al, you done good. 11 years, you done good, my friend. Okay. You guys are excellent. Barbara and I are this close to that too. We're just at 10, which is pretty neat. So Kent, do you have any questions here for Al as we roll along?
Yeah, I first want to say good morning to you both. I had the pleasure to chat with you guys a couple days ago, and it was like a ripcord. Like once we start asking questions, I could probably talk to you guys for about 2 or 3 hours. Just a lot of stuff. Yeah, just a lot of stuff in common. Right now, I'm trying to fight the horrible pollen that has just infiltrated this whole area, and for me, it's just tree pollen. I think tomorrow it's going to be worse.
Get used to it.
I hate it.
Or,
When we lived in Texas, we had problems with cedar, and cedar was really bad in December, and that about wiped us out. But I'm trying to compensate this with a little bit of medication, and tomorrow's going to get worse. So if I start coughing, sneezing, hacking, you see me drinking, don't hold it against me. Couple things like Al had talked about with COS and to clarify that, I wasn't really sure to it what that really meant, but great intro for the both of you. And you probably already answered this question, but really, I guess I can kind of understand where you guys are going with this. But what was the trigger point that really started getting you all involved into moving in this direction?
Al, you're muted.
Okay, I got it. All right, you want me to go first? I'll go ahead and do that. All right, what triggered it? And getting into well, obviously the military, is going there to do that thing as most people do, to serve our country. And then CIA was pretty much hapstance. One of my chief officers, it was out in Keflavik, where I was stationed for a while, introduced me to that, signed up, and here I am, right? Did that for 27 years. But once you're done and you're going done with that, because with the CIA, similar to the military, you have a mission, you have a goal, you need to accomplish something, and mine had always been in the service of this nation and what we stand for, right? So once you're out, you're looking for that, you're searching. What are you going to do? Because now I've retired for the second time. You always had something that you needed to do, and as I was introduced to Convention of States, I started reading that. The first thing was reading the book by Mark Levin, the Liberty Amendments, and got started in that. So that's what evolved it. And then I found the mission, right? I could actually work with a group of folks who actually are doing something that you could actually see changes to and making headway with, and continue to try to save our nation from the downhill slope it's been actively going on for the last more than a decade, right? So that's what gave me the impetus to keep going and working further with Convention of States.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
For me, it was, retired from nursing in 16. We moved to Texas and we were busy building our house and got settled in early 19. Al and I was his co-chair. Well, didn't really help. We started a veterans group in our neighborhood in Texas. He was the president. I was the social coordinator. I got everything together. And during that time, I also became a voter registrar, and I married the two. We grew our veteran organization, but I met so many people by being a voter registrar, and that got me into helping people get involved in, besides the veteran stuff in there. I met a lot of different people in the county doing this in our neighborhood, kind of grew into more working the elections. Here they call them poll workers. They're their clerks. So really got to know Texas law and
Mhm.
legislators to meet, got to meet our local and state representatives. Chip
Mhm.
Roy, he's on all the time. We held him accountable a lot, Al, a whole lot to represent us. We knew our state senator, our state house. So it really helped push me along, got me out of the nursing mode. And Kent Zizal works really well, by the way, for
Yeah.
allergies. Um,
I think I'm
COVID,
on the Walgreens medicine, by the way, but go
yeah.
ahead.
COVID really hit home. It
Right.
opened my
Right.
eyes on the how much Big Brother controlled us. Yeah, I remember in high school, in college, I read 1984. And it hit home with COVID, how much Big Brother was here, and that's just grown. And moving back, trying to stay involved. Al and I moved in May, and they were going through the primaries for the state senate. I don't think we'd been in the house 2 weeks, and we went up to Woodstock to meet all the candidates
Mhm.
for the primary. How many did we have? 7 or 8 for state senator back then?
Something like that.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
8 of them.
and
Yep.
I felt with everything we did in Texas, I felt good enough to go and talk to each one of them and meet them and hold them. Okay, what are you going to do for us? And then it grew. A year ago, I started the Conservatives of Lake Frederick, and it. My goal now is to get everybody engaged and wake them up and realize you just can't vote. Voting
Yeah,
is it
if
is
if I
just not enough.
Yeah, if I can interject just a second there. And what Rhonda did is something that we try to impart to everybody else when candidates are running and people just look at that. And for some reason, there's you don't believe that you can talk to them the way you need to talk to them. And we try to educate people in this way. When somebody is running for office, you get to talk to them and ask them, politely interact with them, but ask them exactly what it is they want and what they're going to do for you because you have to look at this as a job interview. And I've gotten
Yes.
people look at me like, what do you mean it's a job interview? I said, yeah, they're interviewing for the job to represent you in official office. So
Absolutely.
interview them like if you were interviewing somebody for a job and find out exactly what it is they're going to do for you.
Al, I can't agree with you more. After we spoke the other day, because we all do a lot of the same stuff. Okay, we all do a lot of the same things, and Charlie takes the ideas and he puts them all on paper for us. So of course, everything the Mountain Patriots stand for, Charlie put it all together for us. But here's our 20 questions on where you stand as a candidate. Al's 100% right. It is a job interview. It's not a get rich scheme, which it seems to be over the last 30 or 40 years. Who gets a job making 170 $180,000 and ends up making $20 million out of it? I worked
Um,
my tail off for years. I mean, 20 hours a day, and all I did was pay taxes and wonder where the money went. I didn't,
Mhm.
if
My
I had
question is,
known
what's
all
your
I needed
secret
to do
to
was
it?
cheat and write a book deal while I was in sales, I'd have been, but that's not how we operate. We want to operate under the Constitution. We want to do things exactly the way they're supposed to be. So, real quick, I want to give a shout out because it is all about the mission. I want to give a shout out, as Mount Patriots always does. We do believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We really do. In 1607, at Port Henry, they have what was called the first landing. And most people don't realize that the United States didn't start at Jamestown. It actually started at Port Henry. And one of our great friends, Reverend Jack Stagman, runs an organization called First Landing 1607 Project. You can find it online, 1607project.org. And then there's also Taking America Back, all one word, Taking America Back. It's takingamericaback.net. Brand new site. But what we have here at Mountain Patriots are what we call the 7 mountains of influence, okay, where we can help politically, where we can help with preparedness or what have you. Pastor Jack has a whole thing there, Reverend Jack has a whole thing there with 20 different spheres of influence. And part of the reason we're talking with Al and Rhonda today is we want people involved. It's not hard to be involved. So go to takingamericaback.net. Take a look at the 20 spheres of influence that are there. Figure out where you might be able to help in your local community. It doesn't take long, okay? And put a little bit of effort. I mean, this country's given so much to us. And I like how President Trump puts it. This country gave so much to me. I felt it was my turn. I had to give back. We want to make sure that our kids are a lot better off than than um, than we were. And we want to make sure that we pass that message. So make sure that you go to takingamericaback.net. Also, real quick, check out our wakeupwinchester.com. That's on June 28th, where we're going to have our Health and Freedom Conference. And you're going to learn a lot. You're going to meet great people like Al and Rhonda as well. So, Charlie, I'm going to turn it back over to you because I know you had questions about Convention of States and how it works in Title V. And Al's the master, Al and Ron are the masters of this, which is how I met them.
Yeah, I'd like to tweak our agenda just a little bit.
Sure.
We can come
Nothing
back
etched in
to
stone with
Convention
us.
of States. We have a rough idea what that's about, but I'd like to get more into the Conservatives of Lake Frederick, how you got it started, and what its purpose is, what your mission statement is, what you're trying to accomplish with the Conservatives of Lake Frederick, because we would
Keeping it
encourage
local.
other people to join your efforts. And
Absolutely.
so if you can dive into that, we'd appreciate it.
Apparently, before we got here, I want to say it's about 3 or 4 years, our neighbors, luckily we settled into a street with mostly conservatives. They've been trying to get the conservatives joined together and cohesed in Lake Frederick. Never got off the ground with it.
Right.
In the community, Lake Frederick's seen as the bastion of liberals. Yeah, there's a lot of them here, but there's more conservatives. So they talked me into being the chair. So we got it. We got a group of people together. Al and Dick Jones were about, and one other, George Thomas, were about the only men. The rest were women, and trying to flesh out what do we want to do, and what was our goal. So we came up with our mission is to inform, educate, and encourage Lake Frederick conservatives to engage in the political processes. I'm reading and at the local, state, and national level. So doing that, how we first got started is we said, okay, this community is huge. So we spent a lot of our own money. We didn't spend tons, but we joined and we made little postcards about and shared our objectives, which are to promote acceptance of our conservative values, promote an informed electorate through political education, kind of a lot what you do, Dana, and promote active engagement more than just voting, and then working to elect conservatives into local, state, and national. So we did these little postcards, put our mission statement. At the time, we didn't even we had a Facebook site. We opened a Facebook site and we mailed them. We mailed over 1,000 postcards.
Wow.
Said, okay, we had
That's excellent.
we had a meet and greet, said, join us. If you want to learn more, Al and I had a meet and greet set up here at our house for about 30 days after we set the postcard up, put all our contact information. So we had, I want to say it was 25, 27 people came to our first meet and greet. And then we've just grown since then. Had, monthly, trying to get speakers here to teach people what's going on. John Massoud came out, Dan Best.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Great people.
Oh, I know. Patty Menders came a couple months ago to tell us, about, of course, I don't know if anybody out here doesn't know, Lake Frederick, we live in the Trilogy group, which is, well, we're all 55 and over. Most of us more than 55. And then the other side has got retirement plus. So most of our group, and we have 216 people right now on our
That's
mailing list.
huge, Rhonda. That's it.
It is.
That's a
I, it
great
is,
job.
but like any other group, yes, we have a big people that are on our mailing list to get my newsletters that I do and everything else. We usually have 30 to 50 that come to our gatherings. So we have it 30 to 50 actively engaged people,
Hmm.
which is good. So we started a website. So I do our website, conservatives of Lake Frederick.com. And then I do a monthly newsletter. And then I try to limit my in-between emails to everybody. I don't want to barrage people and have them disengage from us. Really found that people love to help at the
Hmm.
election times.
Hmm.
So we have tables. We've got a banner. So at the elections, we have Conservatives of Lake Frederick table. And at the last November election, we paired up with FCRC and handed out some of and did their stuff too. People like to help. And so I acted as co-precinct captain, Kathy Thomas, my co-chair, my vice chair for Conservatives of Lake Frederick. She had the title, and we worked together to get everybody scheduled, and we had 2-hour shifts. Everybody helped, and of course the snacks help get people there, but they like helping. And we did before the November election, Kathy designed door hangers. So we got volunteers throughout the neighborhood, and we passed out over 1,000, it was 800 to door hangers. I tried to identify the conservative households because we didn't want to waste our money on
Right.
for Democrats. We're just
Right.
going to throw our stuff away. Had a sample ballot on one side, had our contact and our mission on the other. We actually saw people coming to the polls with our door hangers to know who. So we know we're making an impact. In fact, we had our basement done last year, and our contractor has done work in Lake Frederick for years. He said, and he knows it was Al and I and Conservatives of Lake Frederick's, our whole group, the leadership group's push. He saw more signs for Donald Trump hung cow in yards than he's ever seen in Lake Frederick. We designed little car stickers, decals. So we got people out here riding around with Conservatives of Lake Frederick, trying to counteract and making ourselves known that this is not just a democratic, Democrat. I don't want to say democratic.
Stronghold.
Stronghold. It's not that.
Democrat stronghold.
There you go.
Yeah. So of course, all of this has been very successful. Al and I are now the most hated people in the neighborhood, which makes me know we're doing the right thing.
That's exactly right.
You know,
I used
it
to
is
write
about
an
the right thing.
article in a newspaper in Percival, the Percival Gazette, and I found out through the comments that I didn't know this, that I'm a racist and a bigot and a homophobe. I mean, that's good to know. But
Yeah.
Yeah, we found out what a week or so ago when we were with the Royal Examiner that we're part of the KKK, and what were we called the other? We were meatheads. The other
yeah,
day, the other day we were meatheads. Now, if I remember, meathead was not a conservative,
No,
so
he was not.
it's kind of funny, that we'd be called meatheads. But what's really neat is Charlie used to do some of the stuff that you're doing right now, Al and Rhonda. Charlie would have people over every month for years, and
conservative meetup.
a
Right.
conservative
It's
meetup, and
common sense meetup. It's just common sense.
it's just common sense. And it's funny because we started Mountain Patriots as a neighborhood watch. A couple of us, all right, let's get together. If something happens during COVID, what do we do? And then I said, well, we'll talk next Monday. Well, the next Monday, there were 15 people there. And then the next Monday, there were 25 people there. And then all of a sudden, we got involved with everything that was going on. And the flag behind me is, I think every one of the Mountain Patriots has a magnet of this flag on their car. There must be, I don't know, 150 of them floating around out there. But it's grassroots, and it's just going out there and getting to talk to people and know people. And what's neat is we went from being underneath a pavilion in the rain, in the cold, in the heat. I mean, there were times my wife, we were all out there with heaters under a pavilion with tarps around us, but there'd be 40 people that were interested in saving this country. And now we have a little clubhouse, and everybody gets together. And I'll tell you, between what you're doing and what we're doing, and I know Charlie and Ken are gonna talk to you about this as well, but how to bring all of us together. I mean, it's incredible, because this is the year. What are you thinking, Ken? I mean, you're
Well,
the
well, I'm always thinking.
I know you're
Um,
always thinking, my friend.
um,
This guy's been a huge asset to Mountain
I,
Patriots.
I
Huge.
appreciate it. Yeah, this has been a fun group, and
Has to be.
I'm very in sync to the same thought process with Rhonda and Al. And when I left, I was there's a void, right? Because you've been doing important work for 20 plus years, and you always have that warrior code in your bloodline. And I got into a lot of genealogy, and I could trace heritage back to the Revolutionary War. And I'm just, the same as Rhonda. I like to help people. My biggest thing is to instruct and teach and guide and educate. And not only that, but I like to learn myself. I'm constantly picking up new things, and bringing it to this group has been a very big outlet. And we always encourage people to come out on Mondays from 7 to 9. So definitely want to meet you guys at some point. If you guys can get out on a Monday, I make the drive all the way out from where I'm at. And I think I've only missed two meetings, and one of them was from a snowstorm. So, yeah, definitely want to get out.
I think we
I
did a Zoom that night, Kent. Didn't we do a Zoom on the snowstorm night?
I think I think we did, and
We've
that was
never
a
missed a Monday in 3 years.
that was a thumbs up. And but there's always something to pick up and learn, and I got the fortunate to help run a constitutional amendment presentation on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, which is very important. A lot of people don't know their rights. And yeah, definitely come on out and check us out. I was while you're talking, Rhonda, I found your page on Facebook, the Conservatives of Lake Frederick. I want to join your group, but do I have to be a member of Lake Frederick, even though out here in Warren
No,
County?
you do not. Initially we started, and we're looking at branching out. However, and to get our word out, our Facebook, we have people in the city of Winchester, Frederick County. Uh, I, yes, please just hit, join, and we'll accept you in there. But no, we want to get our message out. We will be spreading out. We're just trying to fit, we're a year old. We
Hmm.
are just a year old and trying to still find our way. Um, really trying to get people re-engaged now. Everybody thinks, oh, Trump's in. We're
Right.
good.
That's
No,
exactly right.
we're not. So re-engaging, and then yeah, we need to grow. We need to come outside of our boundaries of Lake Frederick and our Facebook, and getting some traffic on our website, and our website. It's kind of eased off in April. Hopefully it'll pick back up now, and keep the metrics of who actually, how many are actually visiting our website itself. But it's getting there. No, please join our Facebook.
Yeah, I just did, and I answered a series of questions, and
Yeah.
hopefully I passed.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure you will. I'm sure you will, Ken.
but I like the questions, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My best advice. I started a company when I was 40, and just like Dana, I mean, you start with just the bare bones, nothing, and the best way to really get your product out there is constantly promote it. It's hard work. It's a lot of mileage
Yeah.
to get your name and product out there, and when you get out in person and start talking to people. That's the hardest thing to do, but that's a really good way to push forward. Definitely take advantage of social media. Use it to your advantage. As we know, right? Sometimes they violate our First Amendment, right? But you got to use it in your favor and keep pushing that message forward. You can get a lot of people on your side, not necessarily within the county, but nationwide. I mean, I have contacts from all over the country who even watch this podcast. I got a retired buddy out in Oklahoma. I got a guy in Arkansas. I got a guy in Michigan. It's the best way to push it. And if you get one person on your team, that's one more win that you got on your side. And just keep moving forward.
Al,
Kent, you're
can you add
100% right.
Al, can you add some of your thoughts on the Conservatives at Lake Frederick?
Yeah, kudos to the team that started it all up and really made this thing happen. And like Rhonda said, you have a flow and ebb on how people participate, and the work right now is to make sure they have to stay engaged in what we're doing. One of the things that's going on to her credit and the rest of the group's credit is making our elected officials accessible to this group. And I think that's something that has to happen not only from the candidates and our leadership reaching out to us, but it's also important for us to reach out to them and ask them to show up, right? So one of the things we're doing now, we started doing here is similar to this, doing a Zoom call with some of our elected officials to try to get them on and speak with us directly. And we're educating our their constituents, if you will, that they have the ability to access them one-on-one here, just like we're doing right now, to get that message out. But sometimes either we're not available to go meet somebody, or their busy schedules doesn't make it easy for them to come out and attend an event. So this is another medium to do that. One of the things we've heard is that it's becoming known that the COLF, the Conservatives of Lake Frederick, is becoming well known as a little powerhouse, if you will, of constituents that are
Absolutely.
they're not only activists, but they vote,
Absolutely.
right? And that's what we want to make sure they understand. We're not just people that sit around and do anything. And what we're trying to do is educate folks that it's your obligation to be involved in what's going on as far as and city government and everything else. So we're trying to do that, and it's becoming more and more obvious that people are becoming uh, more engaged in being able to do that. And one of the things we've done, and we did it out in Texas and we do it here, is bring people out to talk. So we've had Dolores Oates out here several times to meet with and people go out here and realize I can speak to that person.
Right.
They're just like you and me, and I can ask them the questions. One of the things we're going to make sure that we do now, the session's over, is I want town halls. I want to talk to our elected officials and say, what'd you do down there? What did you do? And we show people how to go to the websites and look at their voting record. What did they vote on? How did they vote? What laws did they propose? Not that they're probably going to get anything done in the current status quo down there in Richmond, but what'd you do? What's your thoughts and everything else? Come out and talk to me. And that's what we were trying to get everybody to understand to do, is that on a regular basis, the person you hired should be checking in with you to tell you what they did.
And
Simple as that.
And one thing that's hard, that I'm finding hard, because we are a local group and we're in Frederick County, and people in Richmond and even Loudoun County look at us as not as an important, I'm going to say is like almost like a hick place. We're not important. So even trying to get people to, you want to do a Zoom, some of our representatives with the Conservatives of Lake Frederick, I don't think they see us as important enough to talk to us. So trying to figure out how to present it, that they need constituents everywhere, whether it's in the west end of Frederick County, whether it's in south, northeast. The Frederick County is huge. It's a huge voting block for them. So trying to figure out how to communicate to our representatives or our candidates that want to represent us, to realize that we're all important. They may speak at the women's group in Winchester, and then they think, oh, we've been to Frederick County. We don't need to come back. Or they might speak at Mountain Patriots. Oh, we don't need to come back. We've already been there. They don't realize there's more people in Frederick County. Not everybody knows Mountain Patriots. Not everybody knows about the Women Republican Club
Right.
or Frederick. So how do you, I would love to brainstorm with you at some time, Dana. How do you get these people, our candidates and our representatives, to realize they need to talk to everybody,
I'm
not
a
just,
pest.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a pest, and I try to do it in a nice way. But you're right, Rhonda. We've got to get them out, and we've been very successful. We've had John Reed's been out. We had everybody who ran for Senate, except for Eddie Garcia, came out to see us. And what's really neat is we have such a good time on Monday nights. They come back, so we'll have the commissioner of the revenue shows up, or the clerk of court just shows up and said, Elaine comes in. Who else? John Massoud pops in with Frank, his dog, every couple months. Dan Best comes in. And then people, they feel at home. And I think one of the most important things that I've learned in the last few years is they're human beings. Okay, they're not above us. We're not above them. They're human beings. And people, for example, like Bill Wiley or Dolores Oates, they're good people. Get to know them personally. And you're like, wow. And then when they have lives just like we do. It's not, I elected you to do this, and now I'm going to put my vote in the box, and then I'm going to go home for another 3 or 4 years, and you come back and you tell me what you've done. No, we have them come in all the time, and we support them. I don't just vote for Rhonda Torres and say, here, Rhonda, now go out there and do this. Now it's, okay, you're doing your job. Now, how can we help? And like Al said, come back and report to us. We're your employer. Come back and report to us what you've accomplished. What bills do you have on the table? I'll share this with you. I'll pass it back over to Charlie in a second. We found out we do a lot of work here with the Board of Supervisors and so forth, and the Planning Commission. Charlie and I were talking about chickens last night, and how to get chickens back here, which is kind of goofy because we live in the middle of nowhere and can't have a chicken. But we were talking to Bill Wiley, who's working with transportation, and he's talking about Maryland having it was $20 million per mile in Maryland for highway. In West Virginia, it was 15 million, and it's 33 million here. Well, how do we work through that? But most people won't know that. They're not going to know that, but they're going to complain about their property taxes, their house taxes, their meal taxes, and everything else, but they don't show up. So if anybody that watches this, go out to Conservatives of Lake Frederick, show up. I mean, show up at Charlie's, show up at Al, show up at Rhonda, show up at Dana, show up at a Mountain Patriots meeting, go to a Board of Supervisors meeting, show up at the board of the school board. Don't just complain about it. I mean, you don't really have a right to complain about anything if you're not going to do anything about it. I mean, that's just how I see it. Rhonda, I know the heart that you have thinking about this. You're thinking, why can't people just help out?
Yeah, and it's hard for us right now.
It's hard.
We're all on donations. I mean, we don't have people paying dues. So right now we have no place to meet other than Al and I host it in our house all the time. Our house is only so big. We can only about 50 people is the max.
Right.
Our lodge won't let us use it because we're political. And we can't afford, we looked at Warren County, the fire hall. As it's 150 for 3 hours. We can't afford it. So we struggle with how many people we can have at even a meeting because of the space. So that's always an issue for us too.
Rhonda, let me ask you this. I mean, we all work together, and I know it's a little bit of a drive for you, but we worked out something where we have our own little clubhouse, which is pretty cool. We have outhouses. That's how old the building is. Okay. What, Charlie?
It's a schoolhouse.
It's an old schoolhouse from
Okay.
1902.
Yeah.
But we worked out something where we put in a railing, we put in new lighting, we put in new electric, we did all of that stuff. So they're very good with us. And we
in
also
exchange
do
for rent.
Pardon me, Charlie?
In exchange for rent.
In exchange for rent. And he's like, wow, we were going to charge them this, but they've done $4,000 worth of renovations to our place for us, or 3,000, whatever it is. But if you needed to use that place, we could do that a couple times a month. Where if people are willing to come out, we have no, yeah. I mean, you could use that place if you wanted to. And then there are sometimes we get the opportunity working with the fire hall, depending on the event. They let us use that as well. So there's ways to work this where we work together. We can help you out, and I know you're helping us out. Al, what
Yeah,
do
I
you
think it would
think?
be great to get together, have a
Well,
brainstorming
Get
session.
us all together, yeah.
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 Yeah, we can get together on all of that. I'll be there too. And then I also, again, I have another hat, and that's one of the reasons we don't make it out every, we can on Mondays because
Right.
I have to, I'm usually on calls, the national team working on convention estates of that. And then to that end, we work there. So what I do with convention estates kind of mirrors what you do at the local level, but we're doing it at the national level, if you will, trying to get states to law, do their resolutions to try to make this convention of the states happen. We've got 19 so far. We got to get to 34, and that's what we're working on. But one of the things that I've done here, and just to maybe just change a little bit, it falls into line. It's about learning about our Constitution and what it means, because that's what we're all talking about here. So something that's interesting about this, and I like to bring this up when I talk to people about convention of states, it's not just about that movement and trying to get us there, because the convention is one of the goals we want to make to, but our main thing is our mission is a grassroots army of self-governing citizens, which is what this all becomes here when you're looking at it. But I've learned more about it as we go along here. Our Constitution was signed on 17th of September 1787, 238 years ago, right? And it ratified on June 21st in 88 after New Hampshire became the ninth state to ratify it. To give you a sense of where we are and why this nation was blessed by God to stand up the way we are and why we have to fight to not lose it. France, for instance, has had 14 constitutions since the French Revolution in 1789. Ours is there. It's the only one that's founded under God, right? We're here for that. And one of the things to understand is that it was James Madison right here from Virginia who wrote Article 5 for the Constitution. He was the one that wanted to make that happen. And one of the things that people have to understand, we have opposition to trying to make this happen to save our country using the Constitution of the United States to make it happen. One of our biggest detractors is the John Birch Society, and we've spoken with them before. I don't like to get into any debates with them, but my main question to them and anybody else is, what is it about the word "or" in Article 5 that you find so, objectionable, right? There's two ways to make it a change to the Constitution, amendment to the Constitution, which is Congress does it. All 27 that we have right now were done by Congress. And they all think it's easy that you're going to write it, but Article 5 says the purpose of it is to propose amendments. It still has to go through the ratification process, just like they do. And what I like to do is try to take current events and bring them to what we're talking about, what it is we're trying to do to fix Washington back there, right? So ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, they talked about it before the previous president walked out the door saying it was a law of the land, right? The problem is it's not. And I use this now, and I try to tell our volunteers and everything, use these things because it's educational. They try to say that if we did this, it would be a runaway convention, you'll change the Constitution. But ERA is a perfect example because we say it only takes one chamber in 13 states to not let a proposed amendment pass. And that's actually the case with the ERA. It failed because 13 states did not ratify that constitutional amendment. And you think it would be an easy one. It was simply to say equal rights regardless of sex, right? That's simple what it was. It still didn't pass, and it takes a while to make those things happen. The other thing is we talk about the overreach of the federal government. We see that not only at the federal government, but also local governments as well. A perfect example, again, I like to use current events. It took 4 FEMA employees decided to go against what the government told them to do, and they circumvented the leadership and unilaterally made an egregious payment for luxury New York City hotels for the illegal immigrants in an amount of $60 million. And that's what we try to educate people about all over the place, to say, we have to pay attention. The government doesn't have any powers that we, the people, didn't grant them. And you're seeing it right now with Dodge and what's happening there. We talked about tax day and having to pay taxes, and we all were terrified, horrified that we have to do it. But I found it worse this time because of what was identified by Doge, that what they're actually spending our tax dollars on. And nobody who we've elected on either side of the aisle has paid attention or had, the testicular fortitude to stop it.
Right.
A couple
Right.
of months, about a month ago, I heard Chavez, who was the chair of the oversight committee, right, said, as chair, I didn't have that access. And my question would be, why not? You were the chair. And so that's what we're educating at the national level, using convention of states to teach folks that you, as an individual, need to be able to stand up and be involved in government and making this happen. And that's what we as individuals are trying to teach here now at the local level, to do the same thing and try to make those things permanent, which is why we're trying to still go forward with convention of states to make the states do these, the call for these three elements to happen, and see if we can make it happen too. So switching gear, taking that hat off for a minute and going back to what we do here locally, that's what we're trying to teach here, to tell everybody you have an obligation. It's not something you participate part-time or anything, but as an American, you have an obligation to participate in the running of your state, local, and federal governments. That's how it got out of hand. Nobody paid attention.
Al, it sounds like we probably need to do a podcast just on COS.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You
I
could
agree.
spend hours talking.
Yes,
Dan, one
thank
thing
you, thank you guys for your service in COS.
Absolutely.
one thing that we have different with our two groups is the demographics.
Hmm.
As far as
Hmm.
they're all retired and they're done. Okay, I'm done working, and trying to get them engaged to do anything outside of social stuff because of the life stage they're in is different than a younger generation. I know that you have older people too, but I think you have probably on the other side of us where you have some younger people in there with different stages of life. So
We're
it's
trying. We're trying,
yeah.
In,
Rhonda.
in,
Most of us are
in,
like
in the
60.
we only have we only have a few minutes left.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry.
do either of you folks have an elevator speech or your final thoughts on what we all been all talking about today?
Al?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, for
Push the
me,
button. The
oh,
elevator.
he wants me to go first. My elevator speech in general is we all need to work together.
Yeah.
At the local level, state. I'm going to stay at local right now. We all
Hmm.
need the local level because this is where we can really affect our politics and we can affect the trajectory of being led at the local level, is getting people involved, realizing they need to get involved and being able to push. The county needs to work together. We have one group that I don't even know who is the FCCC. I don't even know who's part of that because they're more silent. But we need to be one body. We need to have one voice.
I
And
agree. 100%. I agree.
I think the Conservatives of Lake Frederick are getting our voice together here so that we can join the bigger voice. So I'd love to work with Mountain Patriots, with the Women's Republican group, the FCRC, to become one voice so that every conservative in this county knows where to go for information and to get involved.
I couldn't have said it better. That was perfect. We all have to be together. Al, what are you thinking here, my friend?
Unmute, unmute.
That's what he's thinking.
It's an obligation that we have, and I'm not done fighting for this country.
No.
And I just hope that before the Lord calls me home, that some of the work we've done actually makes some changes for the positive.
Amen.
Awesome. I've got to say this has been excellent, and Al, we definitely want to do more on convention of states. So people don't understand that Mountain Patriots has been doing this for 3 years, and we've done a lot of these 7 so far Wake Up Winchester Health and Freedom conferences. We've actually had Al speak at the Health and Freedom Conference. Go to Mountain_Patriots on Rumble or Mountain Patriots on YouTube. You can find Al's presentation on it's excellent. It's a nice wrapped presentation on convention estates. It was fantastic. So make sure you go check out some of the videos that we do have there, because there's information that you need to know. Okay.
Conventionestates.com.
What is it, Al?
Conventionestates.com.
Conventionestates.com, and Wake Up Winchester's got the videos up there as well, as this one will be. So I want to thank both of you for being here. Kent, I want to thank you always as being a partner in crime. And Charlie, I mean, we're the three amigos when we try to do this every week. We have a good time with this. But we are a Christian-based organization, and we thank God for every breath that we take and the opportunity, like Al said, I want to be able to do this until, the Lord calls me home. I'm going to do whatever I can to save this country. And I want to thank you again for your service. I really do. And with that being said, I'm going to ask Charlie, we have a Mountain Patriots prayer, and it's starting to go viral, Kent, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I got a good friend of mine out in who retired from USG service as well, and he's out in Norman, Oklahoma, and recorded the prayer. I actually sent it back to the guys, and I was telling them, I was like, our message is getting out, and that's the biggest thing. It's going out as far as we can, and it's good. And definitely, I hope to see you guys at one of our meetings. That's the best thing to do, is just get out, shake hands, and get the message out. That's the best thing.
And we'll come there as well. And Charlie, I'd like to have you take us out with a prayer today for all of us.
Absolutely. Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world and the country you have given us, and the patriots who are willing to care for it. Thank you for inspiring our founders to create this beautiful republic. Please help us keep it as the aspiring place to live. Please give us the wisdom to do the right things, the common sense to judge wisely, the energy to never give up, and your unending grace, in which we take comfort. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Charlie, thank you very much. Al and Rhonda, thank you so much for being here. Guys, this has been fantastic. I will call that a wrap for today. So folks, just make sure you look us all up at wakeupwinchester.com. And when you see this, like what you see, subscribe so we can get this out here, and make sure that you share this with everybody and help us take America back. So with that being said, everybody have a very, very blessed day. Thanks again.
God bless.
Thank you.